Where are my OneDrive files? Hi everyone, Leo Notenboom here for askleo.com. So, OneDrive can be very confusing. Here's a question that is an example of some of that confusion. I can't find my files. OneDrive completely messed everything up, and now I don't know where anything is. You know, sometimes OneDrive tries so hard to be both helpful and flexible that it ends up shooting itself in the foot, or it ends up shooting us in the foot. Files can show up in different places and in different ways, and they can seem to just disappear altogether. What I want to do in this video is cover some of the variations and their impact on exactly where your files might live. There are two basic rules of OneDrive, and we're going to start by showing you those rules over here on Windows 11. So I've opened up Windows File Explorer, and I have, in fact, there a OneDrive folder. You can see it is Leo Personal, the default name for the OneDrive shortcut in Windows File Explorer. And up on top, you can see that it says OneDrive, Leo Personal. That, unfortunately, doesn't really tell us much about exactly where these files happen to be on this computer. In reality, they're in a very specific place that you can go to as well. I'm going to go to my local disk C, Users, Leo N, which is the login name that I use on this particular machine, and OneDrive. Now, we're in exactly the same folder, but we got there by its actual physical location on the hard drive. In this case, that physical location is, as you can see here, C:\users\Leon\OneDrive. Leon, of course, would be replaced by your Windows username. That's the physical location of what happens on your machine with OneDrive. Anything in that folder is acted on by the OneDrive app running on your PC. Anything outside of that folder is not. The OneDrive app only pays attention to what's in the folder, not what's outside of the folder. Unfortunately, that's a wonderfully simple rule, and I love it, and honestly, it's true. However, OneDrive can take some steps to confuse even this simple rule. Now, the other important thing to realize is that everything in OneDrive is always stored and available at OneDrive.com online. So if I fire up the browser and head over to OneDrive.com, of course, you would have to sign in to your account. I'm going to go ahead and make this left-hand column a little bit more obvious. We'll click on My Files. That is the OneDrive folder that was visible on your PC, but everything is online. In fact, you'll see that there's a folder here that's not on the PC that is online. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I think one of the more important things to realize about using OneDrive is that regardless of what shows up on your PC, or the states that it might happen to show up in your PC, and we'll talk about that in a minute, if your file is in OneDrive, it's available online at OneDrive.com. If you can't find it on your PC, look online. And in fact, if you can't find it online, maybe take a look at the recycle bin, because indeed there is a recycle bin online that is separate from the recycle bin on your PC. So if something gets deleted from OneDrive, this is another place to look. Now, the rest of this video is really all about the location and the state of the OneDrive files that are on your PC. That includes the space-saving features, the 3 states your files may be in, and how files can disappear completely. And, of course, the terrible backup feature that OneDrive so aggressively provides. When we talk about where your OneDrive files really live, the space-saving feature is really the first important thing to understand. Technically, it is just a feature to save space on your PC. But it also sidesteps the possibly huge initial download the first time you connect a new PC to your existing OneDrive account. For example, say I have 0.5 TB in my OneDrive. When I set up a new PC, I don't want all that to be downloaded. That's a lot of space and potentially a lot of download time. As a result, OneDrive files can be in one of three states: online only, on this device, and always available. Let's take a look at each one of those separately. I'm going to go into my Documents folder here, where I have examples of each of those states. Online only, that's the cloud icon. The file is listed as being in your OneDrive folder on your PC. You can see it here in Windows File Explorer. The catch is that the file's data has not been downloaded. Now, when you open the file, the data will be downloaded right then and there. Now, for a large file, that means, of course, the first time you try and use the file, there could be a delay while that happens. I find online only as a name kind of misleading because it's not a restriction. You can't have this file only online. It's a state. I like to think of it as online only right now, but it'll be on the PC if you try to use it. And again, this state of being online only, where the data is not yet on your computer, is this hollow cloud icon. On this device, what happens when you download an online only file? Its status becomes on this device. The file is listed as being in your OneDrive folder on your PC. You'll see it in Windows File Explorer like we do here, this on PC because used file. The file was originally online only. The file's data has been downloaded because some program, somewhere, somehow opened or otherwise accessed the file. In other words, the file is currently completely on your PC because it's been used. This state is represented with a hollow circle with a check mark in it. Always available is the third possible state of a OneDrive file. The file, again, is listed as being in your OneDrive folder on your PC. You can see this here in my example on PC always. You'll see it in Windows File Explorer. The file's data has been downloaded. There's no downloaded if or downloaded because or downloaded when. An always available file is always completely downloaded and always available on your PC, whether you've done anything with it or not. This state is represented by a solid circle with a check mark in it. Now, something important about these three states. If it's online only, the data is not on your PC. If you back up your PC, the data will not be there to back up. So your image backups, say, of your PC will not actually include the data for these online only files. Unlike on this device or always downloaded, where, yeah, the data is in fact on your hard disk, and therefore when you do a full backup of your PC, that data will be included. The one difference, as I understand it, between always on this PC and on this device is that the on this device, on PC because used in my example here, it was online only. You did something to it. I believe this also gives OneDrive the option to make it online only again later to save space. Always on this device is always on this device, period. Now, you can control the status of these files. If you right-click on a file or a folder in OneDrive to see a context menu, you'll see that it includes options to apply one of the three states to that file. For example, if I right-click on PC only when used, I will see an option that says, always keep on this device. So I can download this file. This is an online only file currently. I have two ways to download it. One is I can just open it and try to use it. That will download the data. Or I can tell it to always keep on this device, which will change its state to be always on the device, no matter what happens. This other file, on PC always, if I right-click on it, I also have the option to free up space. Now, there's two things that I can do here. One is I can uncheck the always keep on this device. That will change it to be on this device. It's downloaded, but it doesn't actually remove the data. If I hit free up space, which I'm going to go ahead and do, you'll see that it now became a cloud only, an online only file. The data for this file is no longer on the PC. If I try to use it, the data gets downloaded. But until I use it, or until I change the state, the data is no longer there. If I right-click on it again and say always keep on this device, boom, it's back to being an always on this device file. Now, to be clear, I've been making these example changes to individual files. If you make these kinds of changes to a folder, it will apply to all of the files and all of the folders within. So for example, if I go up to, say, my important documents, and you can see right now it says that it is available on this device, but it's not always. If I right-click on it, and I now change it to always keep on this device, that folder and everything in that folder have been changed to be always on this device, and their data has been downloaded. Now, you'll notice that when we went online to take a look at OneDrive.com, there's this folder that says appears in cloud only. It's a folder in OneDrive. There's data in it, but it's not on my PC. And in fact, it is nowhere to be seen on my PC. That's a setting you control on your PC. I'm going to right-click on the OneDrive icon in the notification area, click on Settings, and then click on Account, where we get to choose folders. This then shows all of the folders that are available in OneDrive online. And you can see that the Appears in Cloud Only folder exists, but it's unchecked. By unchecking it in this dialog, that tells OneDrive on this PC to completely ignore and not even list that folder as existing. You might do that for a couple of different reasons. I do it in some cases for folders that have a lot of stuff that, for example, I might not need on my laptop. So on my laptop, I will have a folder that is on OneDrive online, but I'll have it unchecked in this Choose Folders dialog so that it will not appear on my laptop and not take up space on my laptop. I do it specifically, I hide it specifically because I don't even want there to be an accident, right? If I do something in a folder that starts to reference files that are online only, well, OneDrive's going to start downloading them because it thinks I'm trying to do something with it. If that folder isn't even visible using the Choose Folders option, then that's not going to happen. I can't accidentally go into a folder that doesn't appear on the PC. Again, everything is online at OneDrive.com, and everything is also on any other PCs that happen to have that folder visible. But more importantly, everything is available online at OneDrive.com. So even if the folder doesn't exist on my laptop, while I'm traveling, I can still see those files by visiting OneDrive.com online and potentially downloading the one or two or the whatevers that I might need. All right. So far, we've talked about what I would call normal OneDrive features. Confusing enough, but normal. Now we have to talk about the horrible OneDrive backup feature. First, a reminder. Our OneDrive is at C user's username OneDrive. Any file or folder elsewhere on your PC is not affected by OneDrive. Microsoft, of course, could not let this stand. We'll go back into OneDrive settings, and here in Sync and Backup, we will click on the Manage Backup button. This allows you to control the OneDrive backup feature. You can see that it's available for exactly 5 separate folders: Documents, Pictures, Desktop, Music, and Videos. For this video, I'm only going to talk about the Documents folder, but everything I say really does apply to all 5 of these different folders. All right, backup is off. You can see that I have Documents, it's not being backed up, not going to change a thing. What that means is that when I click on the Documents shortcut here in Windows File Explorer, I have, well, it's the Documents folder. It's a shortcut. It doesn't really tell us where it is, but you can guess where it is. It's in C:\users, Leon, Documents. Again, it is not within OneDrive, so it's not being affected by OneDrive. And this document that's in this folder, I've named Original Documents Folder because that's where the document lives. Now, we've already seen that in OneDrive, there is another Documents folder, and it has other things. It has the example files that I was using when I was talking about the 3 states these files can be in. All right, here's where things get messy. I'm going to turn the backup feature on for the Documents folder. In fact, before I do that, I'm going to open up a second Windows File Explorer instance because I want you to notice what happens to c:users leon/documents, the physical documents folder on my PC, and how it compares to the documents folder in OneDrive. I'm turning on the documents feature, the backup feature for documents, and I'm hitting Save Changes. So what's happened is super confusing. First of all, the simple part. Here in OneDrive, the original documents folder, the contents of whatever was in the original documents folder, has been moved into the OneDrive documents folder. To be very step-by-step clear about this, OneDrive will create c:users, username, OneDrive, documents, if it didn't already exist. In our case, it did. The entire contents of users, username, documents is moved to users, username, OneDrive documents. And then the system documents shortcut is changed to point to users, username, OneDrive documents. And that's what happened over here on the left. You can see that this is, once again, it says it's c:users Leon documents, but that's not where it is at all. If I go to c:users Leon documents, there's nothing there. And that's because everything that was there has been moved into the documents folder that's over in the OneDrive's folder, and as a result, uploaded to OneDrive. Microsoft calls this a backup, and it kind of sort of is, but it isn't really. The files are still there. They've just been moved to a new documents folder that is now located within your OneDrive folder. And the system shortcut for documents has been changed to point not to the local documents folder, but to the documents folder that is now within the OneDrive folder. Boom. All right. Now, let's say you don't like this, as a lot of people don't. What happens if you now turn it off? Well, I will do that. We will go back to the OneDrive Settings app, back to Manage Backup, where of course it notices that the backup feature is on for documents, and now I'll turn it off. Are you sure? Yes, I'm sure. All right, it's done. But nothing happened to the files. The documents folder in OneDrive still has all of the documents that were in it, including the one that had been moved there from the original documents folder. If we take a look at the original documents folder, the physical original documents folder, users, Leon, documents, there's nothing there except a shortcut that says, where are your documents? This is a shortcut to the documents folder over in OneDrive. What happened is simply this. Turning on OneDrive Backup moved the documents from the original documents folder to the OneDrive documents folder and changed the documents shortcut to point to the OneDrive documents folder. Turning it off only changed that shortcut to point back to the original C:\users, Leon in my case, documents folder. It does not move your documents back. You are now left with the existing contents of C:\users, username, OneDrive, documents, unchanged and in OneDrive, and new documents being created in C:\users, username, documents, unrelated to OneDrive. In other words, you now have files in two folders, both confusingly called documents. So, where are your OneDrive files? They could be in a lot of places. They could be somewhere within C:\users, username, OneDrive on your PC. They may be completely downloaded and available. They may be listed but need to be downloaded in order to be used. Or they might not be visible on your PC, but they might live only online at OneDrive.com. And if the backup feature was involved, your files could be in a OneDrive documents folder or your original documents folder outside of OneDrive. And regardless, if your files are in OneDrive at all, they're online at OneDrive.com. I hope this clarifies a little bit. I totally get that this is a very, very confusing situation, and that Microsoft has really done us no benefit by setting things up the way they have, but it is what it is. Hopefully, you'll understand now where your files are and what you need to do to try and find them. For updates, for comments, for links related to this topic and more, please visit askleo.com/181727. I'm Leo Notenboom, and this is askleo.com. Thanks for watching.